What's up, everybody? This is Mike, aka Black Magus, and I'd like to welcome you to a new series that you're going to find here on Wiseguy Gaming, Sports, and Entertainment. That's called "Is It Really That Serious?" Basically, this series is just about different topics in which you seem to get a lot of controversy and debate going over. People exploding over different topics. The topic that inspired this series, of course, is our first topic, and that is the Harriet Tubman $20 bill. So, if you haven't heard, they're going to be replacing Andrew Jackson with Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill. Naturally, there was a bit of a uproar over this, as this is the first African American woman on American currency. This is the first African American, period, on American currency. And that seems to have caused somewhat of a heated response by people. People seem offended by this idea, which is it really that serious? Seriously, is it really that serious that Harriet Tubman is going to be on the $20 bill? Now, I've heard a few of the arguments, and people try to validate their anger, their displeasure. I'm not sure how to quite put it, because for me, I don't understand where it comes from. Sure, you can always say that there's a racial element, because there sadly in the United States is. And there are some people out there who are probably offended because of the race thing. But there's also some people who just kind of don't like the idea of change, which, I've said before, one of the hardest things to do is to get people to agree to change. When you do something different, something that they've known all their life, they kind of push back in ways that probably aren't they aren't sensible. And this is why I ask, is it really that serious? So one of the arguments, of course, you hear is that American currency should only have presidents on it. Now, I'm sure that they probably didn't know this, but I'm going to give them a little helping hand. Now, sometime in the early 1900s, the government did decide that they should probably start limiting American banknotes to presidents if they introduce anybody else on them. Now, that's not to say that they're only American presidents on the bills. Which, when people make that argument, it's kind of laughable. As you look at American currency, you have George Washington, you have Abraham Lincoln, and until Harriet Tubman replaced them, you had Andrew Jackson, and you also, of course, had Ulysses S. Grant. Cool. Now, two bills I didn't mention, the $10 bill and the $100 bill. They're not presidents. They're actually a Secretary of Treasury, the first Secretary of Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, and Benjamin Franklin, who is more than anything just a famous, important figure in American history. He never really held political position. He was a delegate, or should I say, he was more of like a representative for the United States, who was sent to France on their behalf to, represent. But for the most part, he was an inventor. He was an author. He was a pretty dope guy, as he gallivanted around, with women and gave advice that was quite humorous. Please, if you can get a hold of any of Benjamin Franklin's writings, I highly recommend it, especially some of his views on women, in particular, as it pertains to gravity. If you're a gamer like I am, you'll note that in Assassin's Creed 3, there was a part where Benjamin Franklin, you met him, and he was spewing different life views, one of them being about women and gravity. Ladies and gentlemen, that is something that he truly said in real life. So I highly recommend that you look it up. Anyway, So you have those two figures, but throughout the history of U.S. currency, there have been many non-presidents. In fact, presidents are one of the is few people to be on bills. You've had 13 presidents, but you've had 20 U.S. senators. You've had 17 House of Representatives. You've had 15 governors. You've had 11 secretaries of state. You've had 8 secretaries of treasury. You've had 11 state house members. Interesting. 7 delegates from the Continental Congress. Where else? You've had 6 generals. Interesting. 3 signers of the Declaration of Independence. A couple of Supreme Court justices. Just to name some of the different kind of people that you've had. You've had women. You've had Martha Washington. She shared a bill and also was on the $1 bill by herself at one point. So you can't make an argument that we've never had a woman if you're someone who wants to come the sexist route. If you are trying to come that route, shame on you. You shouldn't. Lewis and Clark, they were on the $10 bill in 1901. We've had a Secretary of Treasury put himself on money, Samuel Chase, which is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. And of course, she's not the first minority on any currency. I guess we don't consider or have much thought for Sacagawea or any Native American face that we've put on Indian head and buffalo coins, perhaps. I guess it's okay to be on coin if your argument is you don't want to see a minority. I'm not sure. I again, is it really that serious? That is my whole point. It's like, okay, clearly we've had many people from many walks of life all throughout history who've done great things for the United States over its time. And they were honored by being put on American currency. For some reason, our government has decided, you know what, we're not just going to limit it to presidents anymore. We're going to put, other historical figures, because people kind of forget Alexander Hamilton almost got taken off the $10 bill. They were going to put a woman. They were trying to find a woman to put on there, but people petitioned. Not saying that they petitioned because they didn't want a woman on there, but people felt like Alexander Hamilton was too pivotal a figure when it came to U.S. money, which I can agree to somewhat because he was the first Secretary of Treasury. Hey, he helped establish and shape, that department. So having him on there makes sense. It makes total sense. But what doesn't make sense is the negativity and the blowback to this change with Harriet Tubman. Things change, people. Again, I know change is hard, change is scary, but at the end of the day, the thing that's most important in my argument as far as why is this so serious is, regardless of who's on the currency, are you going to stop spending money? If I gave you $500 in 20s, are you going to look at Harriet Tubman's face and say, I don't want that? Are you not going to feel comfortable walking into a store and buying something that you want with Harriet Tubman's face on the bill? No, you're going to spend that currency regardless. It's money. Money pays for things. It pays for needs. It pays for wants. You're going to want to be able to satiate those two things. And I highly doubt that once her face go on the bills, people are going to be getting their paychecks, cashing them in, and then when they get these 20s, they're going to burn them. No. You're not going to do that. You're going to stuff it in your wallet, you're going to spend it, and you're not going to care as much as you claim you do. So again, I ask you guys, is it really that serious? Please, if it is, feel free to leave comments in the comment section. You can also send us suggestions for different is it really that serious topics. Um, Feel free to email us at wiseguygse@gmail.com. You can tweet us at wiseguygse, and hopefully I will get some sound, reasonable responses to this. Because so far, the argument against it has been pretty weak. So if you can come up with a strong argument and convince me as to why it's really that serious, I welcome you to do so, please. But anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time. Peace.